Yo, what's up, guys? It's Mordecaido. I just wanted to talk about the MeatCanyon thing that's going on where everybody's dissing him for saying that he created his own manga. Here's his video. It's called I Made a Horror Manga, and I'm going to put the link in the description below. So basically, all he did was took one of his series that he made that wasn't a parody of an already established franchise or character or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's called Melvin, or Melvins Macabre. He mainly just calls him Melvin, and it's an extremely good series. I really enjoy it myself. I'm pretty big into a lot of horror, and like not really like horror films, but I like watching horror animations, and also I used to read a lot of horror manga, especially when I was in middle school. And people are saying that he has no right to call it a manga because he isn't from Japan. The manga didn't originate from Japan, so therefore it is not a manga and it's just a comic, but all manga is a comic style, and technically maybe he should have said it's manga like or in manga art style. I'm going to play you guys a clip from the video in question. It's called I Made a Horror Manga by MeatCanyon. Link will also be in the description below. It's only 5 minutes. You guys can feel free to watch the whole thing if you want, but I'm not going to rip MeatCanyon's whole video.
We have worked really hard to translate these episodes into something that is horrific and awesome, and that the art speaks for itself, and that it transcends the moving medium of animation, and it stands on its own as like these awesome crispy black and white drawings, you know, inspired by Kazuo Umezu and Junji Ito, and of course Hideshi Hino, which Melvin is heavily inspired by the Bug Boy, and a lot of his work and how funny they are and how awesome that is. And I think
It's crazy that there are people who will accuse him of cultural appropriation for calling Melvin's Macabre a manga, even though he gives nods to three different fucking manga creators. Are you kidding me?
I think I was in a place where I had just started collecting tons of Japanese horror manga. I mean, all over the place. Shit that I can't read Japanese. The art is so incredible, and the cartooning is so fascinating, and of course Junji Ito's storytelling is extremely.
And something else I have to point out is even though he said that he has them in Japanese and he can't read Japanese, I zoomed in here just to show the people that might be like, well, oh my god, he didn't even actually read it, so he can't talk about good the storytelling is. He's just looking at the pictures. Look at this shit right here. It's a bit blurry, but you can tell that says butt right there. B-U-T.
Ito's storytelling is extremely compelling, especially for a short form horror content comedy dude like myself. It's just, I love it. I draw so much inspiration for it, and I just figured I would want something for my own bookshelf, and maybe other people would be interested as well. And this is a nice way to test the water here to see if people would be interested in other original horror comic stuff, manga, you know, and I am a filthy Westerner, so the pages go left to right.
He talks about how he can relate specifically to Junji Ito with his horror comedy style in some of his works, and it's like, come on, bro. How's that cultural appropriation? It's called cultural appreciation. But yeah, I can't find it, but yesterday whenever I looked this up, there was one that was from like 2018, which that's only 6 years ago now. I think it was from July, so it was more like 6.5. But it was saying that it is a comic style created in Japan, and it is from Japan. And that definition was from 6.5 years ago. If we look here at the Merriam-Webster from 2024, although Merriam-Webster isn't the most reliable and some of their words don't have the full definitions, and also some of them are very skewed alterations of the definitions, I recommend getting a law dictionary for anybody who's interested in learning true definitions. Not all of them. I'm not saying all, though. I'm not saying Merriam-Webster's all bad. You know, if you can't afford a law dictionary, go get a Merriam-Webster at the very least, I guess. But it says right here, it says the meaning of a manga is Japanese comic books and graphic novels considered collectively as a genre, also an individual comic book or dot dot dot. I'm not going to click on the link, even though I said Merriam-Webster isn't fully reliable. People are like, well, you just use it as your main source. Well, I mean, it is a whole fucking company, corporation, some fucking shit, I don't know. They're based around making dictionaries and naming definitions. Even though I said that not all of their definitions are accurate, or they're missing pieces of information at least, or could be more descriptive, some of them, they said it is collectively considered as a genre, which means that MeatCanyon, even though it isn't actually from Japan, as far as we know, it wasn't like at least created. Like I'm not talking about the creation of the artwork and the content, but I'm guessing that the producer of the physical copies isn't actually in Japan. I'm guessing they're not being produced in Japan because I mean he did say that it's read left to right, and I believe that it would fit in the manga art style, definitely, with how detailed that shit is, just from the few pages that he showed. I mean, if the whole thing is like that, it's not just, oh, because it's black and white. Like, anybody who's actually read a lot of manga would probably agree that the art style is very fitting. Not every single manga has to have the main characters necessarily look like they're straight out of a fucking anime. I know manga came first, but, you know, anime characters all relatively look kind of the same. Obviously, a lot of authors have their own art style. And also, let me give some background real quick. One Piece has very unique looking characters. Even the main character, his eyes are very different compared to most other anime. And not just him, a lot of other characters. Shout out Luffy, shout out One Piece, shout out Eiichiro Oda. Yeah, One Piece is my favorite fucking manga and anime as well. And no, I didn't hop on the hype train either. I'm going a little bit of tangent here. I didn't hop on the hype train. I was watching that shit since middle school, and I told everybody about it, and they were like, dude, shut up. Dragon Ball's better. Dude, shut up. Naruto's better. They're both good. Don't get me wrong. Dragon Ball is actually what got me started, but I'll be real. One Piece has got the best storytelling out of the three, at least consistently throughout the entirety. Dragon Ball is really good, but Super left a lot to be desired with the writing, in my opinion. And the fights were awesome. But anyway, had to say that real quick. Back to the main subject. I just had to give some background. I know I went off subject a little bit, but I believe that the context was relevant. So back to Merriam-Webster and their definition of manga. Even though we don't fuck with Merriam-Webster over here. As I said, their definitions aren't always reliable. So, this isn't just conclusive evidence that, oh, it is a manga. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it does show that there are people who agree. It shows that there is enough consensus that Merriam-Webster decided to add that to their dictionary or definitions. The thing that pisses me off about all of this isn't even the main thing that I'm trying to get into. This is just the first part of the whole MeatCanyon drama. MeatCanyon also started getting a shit ton of hate comments of people saying, whoa, you dissed all of anime and manga fans. This is unbelievable. There were also other comments like, this is cultural appropriation for you calling it a manga and it's not even from Japan and you're not Japanese. Oh my god. Well, let me provide another example I know off the top of my head from one of my favorite animes and manga. And guess what? It's from someone from the fucking EU. From Europe. Someone from fucking Europe. And it's considered a French manga. It's called Radiant. Let me look this up real quick. Wow. I mean, it's technically considered a manfra, like Manfra. I don't know how you pronounce it. I probably did it wrong. Radiant Wiki. I know it's Wikipedia, but Radiant Wiki. Radiant parentheses manga. Oh my god. Wow, look. The subreddit for it. r/radiant manga. Oh my god. That's just crazy. On Wikipedia, it's listed as a manfra or a manfra. I don't know how to fucking say it. I don't speak French. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just being real. I don't speak it. I'm not going to continue. But it is largely considered a manga. I mean, the main subreddit for it is r/radiant manga. Radiant Wiki. Radiant parentheses manga on the Radiant Top fandom, not actual Wikipedia. And at least for this example, the one difference is that on the Wikipedia, it says Radiant is a French comic book series written and illustrated by Tony Valenti. It has been published by Ankama since 2013, and it has 19 volumes released in French as of November 2024. It was later published by the Japanese publisher Euromanga, and I'm going to butcher this, Asukashinsha in 2015, making it the first manfra to be published in Japan. So, I mean, this one, at least it was published in Japan. That is a clear-cut difference. But still, my example still stands because it was not originally created in Japan. It was not originally published. Came out in 2013, and then in 2015, 2 years after its creation, is whenever it got published in Japan. So at least currently, it still can be considered a manga/manfra. I feel like this is a pretty strong example to compare to MeatCanyon scenario. And it's by Tony Valenti. Shout out to him. Hope I said it right. The anime is good, but the manga is so much better, so much more detail. I'm usually more of a manga guy, but with this story specifically, it has a lot more detail and it's a lot darker in the manga. They're allowed to have a lot more swearing, be a lot bloodier. Definitely recommend checking it out. Go support the author. Now I'm going to read you guys some of the aforementioned comments. Cookie Goggles said, "Isn't it just a comic if it's not Japanese?" And then Kevin replied, "A left-to-right comic." And Warlock of Blue Cheese's Smither 2517 says, "He is literally cultural appropriationing, and I just literally can't." Appropriationing is not a fucking word. Warlock of Blue Cheese Smither 2517, I'm sorry. Might actually be a troll based on the name. I mean, all these comments could be trolls, but whether they're trolls or not, there's people with these actual viewpoints. And they said literally 2 times, and I know literally has become a common filler word in most people's dialogue. They should have said he is literally committing cultural appropriation, if that is what they were trying to say, or he is literally appropriating their culture. Like, it's not fucking hard. And then someone else replied, "Wait till you find out not only Japan reads that way." They replied to Kevin. And then someone replied to Warlock of Blue Cheese, "Cultural appropriation doesn't exist. Whoever says otherwise usually holds chauvinistic viewpoints themselves. Culture, it's meant to be shared when it's through an appreciative lens, which MeatCanyon is undoubtedly doing. Art is meant to be shared, and culture is also art." Valid fucking take. I wouldn't say that cultural appropriation doesn't exist, but I will say that it is a buzzword, and most people throw that term around way too lightly, and they act like it holds no weight. They act like they throw it around so casually, yet they still try to accuse someone as though the impact of what they're doing is the heaviest burden, and they are completely robbing this culture and or taking everything from them, when usually it's people showing appreciation. You know, just because I go and I eat fucking Italian food and go and eat spaghetti and I make spaghetti doesn't mean that I'm appropriating their culture. And also, I mean, I do have Italian family. I'm not Italian myself, but I think it's fucking ridiculous. It's like, oh, you're inspired and you appreciate this and you give great respect to it and you give credit where it's due to what inspired you. Oh my God, you're appropriating their culture. How could you do this? How could you do this? How are you just going to take everything from them? It's like, bro, you're not cheating on a fucking test. It's not like you're copying one for one. It's like saying, oh yeah, every single action movie is the same. Every single drama is the same. Every single insert genre is the same. Insert anything is the same. It's like, oh, you have this? It's the same. No. It's like saying fucking provolone and cheddar are the same thing. They do not taste the same. And I'm all about that motherfucking cheddar. But anyway, yeah. And then this other person, last one I'll read, they said, only Japanese can make manga. It's like a PDO designation of origin. That's not a bad take because they're saying it's relative to the location, which in a lot of the definitions is a part of it. Not the whole, but a component of the definition. If you end up making something that stands alone on its own, then you should be allowed to make money off it. I know most people are going to be like, well, he's actually making money off of it. He's doing this for commercial gain. Well, I mean, what he made is actually really fucking good. So yeah, he deserves to make money off of it. He deserves to make money off of Melvin. Like, are you acting like he didn't put in any fucking work? You act like he doesn't deserve to make anything? Are you serious? How fucking stupid are you? Oh, let's look at fucking Shrek. Is Shrek appropriating the fantasy culture because they have a goddamn ogre and knights and shit in there? Is he appropriating farm culture because there's a donkey? Like, come on, man. Where's the line drawn? Cultural appropriation. Most people throw those terms around purely for their own benefit, to stick a label to something so that people are like, hey, this guy's bad and agree with me because I don't like this. I guarantee most of them haven't even watched the Melvin videos. This begs the question. I must ask you, does Shrek not deserve to make money? Did DreamWorks deserve to not make money off of Shrek because they appropriated the fantasy culture? Do you think they appropriated the fantasy culture? Come on. Get real. Delusional. That's where I'm going to end the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you for watching the whole thing. There's going to be a part 2. Most likely not a part 3 unless I find some really heinous comments and just keep reading through them. That would be all part 3 would be about. But the second video, I'm going to pull some clips from that video on his Papa Meat channel where he calls out lolicons and pedophilia, and people were trying to say that he was calling all anime and manga fans that, which people, the reason I brought that one up is people are tying that 10-month-old video into his current video that's about making his own manga for Melvin. But yeah, thanks for watching. Just wanted to give a little preface so you guys know what's coming for episode 2. See ya.